Suzanne with Scrapping the Details, and today I have a fun project to share with you. Perfect for Valentine's Day, and this is more geared towards maybe a teacher or someone that is creative in your life that loves pencils or markers. I added pencils to mine because I thought they would be perfect for my kids' teachers. But again, like I said, you can pretty much alter this however you would like. So I did these for my craft fair, obviously in a Christmas theme, and they were geared towards teachers and they went over very well. So I thought this would be perfect as well for Valentine's Day. So let me tell you what you're going to need to get started. You're of course going to need a mason jar. I get these at Michael's when they're on sale for 99 cents, and I stock up because I love these. These are like my favorite thing to alter and to tuck in gifts. So you're going to need that, and you're going to need some ribbon. And this one is 1.5 inches wide. So you're going to need that width. You're going to need some twine, some tulle. I use this because obviously when I show you the papers, you'll see why I chose that color. You're going to need some ink. You're going to need some diamond dust. I love this. This is like my favorite, and I cannot be without this. So I always make sure I have 2 of these on hand because I use this quite a lot. You're going to need some spray adhesive, and you're going to need some punches. So here I have a plain circle punch, and this is 2 inches. And you're going to need one that is 1 1/4. And I use a scallop punch as well, and this is 1 1/2. And you're of course going to need some doilies. So you're going to need a heart doily. And I believe I picked these up in Michael's. You're going to need some smaller doilies, and these are from Doodlebug. I love these. They come in so many different colors, but I used white for my project. And you won't even see it, but you'll see where I use this. You're going to need some straws, and you're going to need some type of embellishment. It could be a rhinestone, but here I use enamel dots, and I picked these up at Michael's, and they're by Recollections. And of course, you're going to need a rosette. So I did use the Tim Holtz rosette die. So you're going to need that. And then you're going to need some vellum. And here, you don't really need this, but I just use this as an accent piece. So I used an arrow here and assorted hearts. So I have a bunch of these on hand, so I just tucked them into a bowl. But you're going to need some hearts. And you're going to need some stamps. These are 2 of my favorite. I love these. And I use this one definitely every season. Well, every year for Valentine's Day. And you're going to need some framelets. So this one here is by Sizzix. It's called Fancy Tags. So I'm not really certain if this is still in stock. But it is called Fancy Tags, and it is by Sizzix. And this heart here, I believe, is from Lawn Fawn. So just some type of heart. Again, I do have heart punches, but I just really love this shape. So any heart will do. And then you could make your own, but I did use this die, and I believe this is from Paper Tray Ink. I bought this a long, long time ago, but I used this as well. But like I said, you can cut this out yourself. And I believe that's it. And then, of course, you're going to need some paper. So let me just kind of show you what I chose for my project. You're going to need some white glitter paper and also some pink glitter as well. And then some type of pattern paper here that's going to be used for the rosette that sits on front of the mason jar. And then some cardstock. I just picked out this pretty blue. I mean, as you can see, I just kind of picked out cardstock and glittered paper just so it all coordinated. So this is my color palette, and this is how I began my project, and so this is what inspired me. So, did I mention you're also going to need some cupcake liners? You're going to need those as well. And I believe that's it. So let's get started. Let me show you how easy it is to create this project. Okay, first up, you're going to grab your mason jar, and you're going to cut your ribbon, and this should be, I use, again, it's like 1.5 in width and then 10.5 inches long. Now, I cut this a little bit short, but that's okay because we're covering the center with a rosette. So even though it's not, oh, actually it's going to match up perfectly. If it doesn't match up perfectly, it's okay because it's going to be hidden. So what I do, I just use a glue gun to adhere my ribbon right around the center. And I'm going to bring this other one. See how it's a little bit too short, but that's okay because we're going to hide it. So we're going to put that right there and make sure it's nice and snug. And that's how I start with altering this mason jar. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our rosette, and I already have it die cut for you. So it'll just make it a little bit easier. So I think that's good there. And I'm just going to hot glue the back of it and adhere it to the center, just like that. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, and then next, I just love to layer. So we're going to use a circle here. This is the 1, and I believe I said it is 1 1/4. And I did emboss it with a embossing folder that I had, and I believe this is just simply the Swiss Dots by Cuttlebug. Put a little bit of glue to the center, and we're gonna adhere just like that to the front of the mason jar. And make sure it's lined up. Okay, and then next we're gonna grab a heart. So luckily I have a bunch of these already die cut. So I'm gonna grab this one here, and I'm going to adhere it right to the center. Again, I'm just using my glue gun to make it easier. And there we go. I'll let that dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my enamel dots to add a heart to this little die cut glittered heart. Oh, my stars, I couldn't find my enamel hearts. Here they are, tucked underneath this plate. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of these, and I think I'm going to use a tiny heart. And because this is going onto the glittered heart here, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of my heart so it adheres well. And this is very tiny, oh my stars. So I'm just going to kind of move it like that. And just make sure I like it. So far, this is what we've done. Okay, and then next, we're going to go ahead and begin designing our wand that's going to sit inside this jar. Now, there are tutorials on making the rosettes with the cupcake liner. So I found mine on Pinterest, so that's how I got the idea, and I thought it was so awesome. They did put them like on lollipop sticks, but I thought it'd be really cute onto a straw. Now, the only thing I do different here is I go ahead and I turn it around. It's easier to see because obviously this has a pattern, but I simply cut into the liner all the way around, just like that. I'm not cutting all the way because I don't want it to obviously fall off. I want it just a little bit, just so I can add some dimension. I'm actually like you're cutting fringe almost. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Just, again, no rhyme or reason. I'm just cutting. Because I think it just adds that extra fun little touch. And it just gives it more texture. And I love that. So make sure, okay, I still need to do this part. Okay, and there you have it. And then I just like to crinkle it just to give it just a fun little flair to this rosette. Okay, so the next thing, so after you have this and you cut, we're going to go ahead and add our other rosette to the center. And here again, I already have one die cut for us and assembled. These are very simple to create. I love this die. Obviously, if you watch a few of my videos, you probably already know that. So I'm just going to let that dry for a little bit. Okay, and again, we're going to now just begin layering. So here, I'm going to add my scallop vellum right to the center of that. So again, just a little bit of glue. And right there, I got a little bit of glue there, but that's okay. Once it dries, I can just take it right off. Okay. And then now, this is where I add this glittered pink arrow. Again, you don't have to add this, but it just adds something, just another layer to this little rosette. Okay, and let me grab, I need another glue stick, so let me do that real quick. Okay, I'm ready. Now the next thing we're going to do is add the white glittered heart onto the center. And for this, I'm going to use a pop dot just to give it more dimension. I love that. So I'm just going to tuck this right here. And again, with some glue, I'm going to adhere it right about there. It just adds just a little bit of depth to it, which I think is really awesome. Okay, so next we're going to add another enamel heart, and I believe I use a larger red, and I still have some here. I need it. I love these. I love enamel dots. I just think they're awesome. Okay, so I'll add it there, and that part is done. So as you can see, we have the top of our cupcake liner all assembled. So what I do at this point is I turn it over, and then I kind of want this a little bit longer, so I just add some glue right here. And then I just lay this down and I hold it for a little bit, just so it gives it a chance to kind of adhere and to dry. And next, you'll want another white cardstock circle, again, that I punch, and again, this is the 2 inches, and I just want to cover the back of it just so it's not so, so it's a little bit more attractive, more appealing, and it's like we finished the project and we just didn't stop. Okay, so, and the next thing, you could just leave it like that, but I went ahead and just covered the back with one of these smaller white doilies, just to finish it off. And that's it, just so the back looks nice and finished. Okay, as you can see, okay, so here we go. Now we're going to straighten that out, and let's give that a chance to dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, while this rosette wand is drying, I've noticed as I am working on this project that I forgot to begin with the larger white doily. So you're going to need this first. This is the first layer that we will begin with as we're altering this mason jar. So I apologize for that. So all I do is I simply, with the tape runner, just add some tape, and I adhere it just like that, because the ribbon is going to hold it in place. And then obviously the next step will be the ribbon, and then we'll finish it off with the other steps that I shared previously. Let me show you what that's going to look like. So this is where we should be. So you have your heart doily, then you have the ribbon, and then you have the pinwheel that sits right onto the center of the mason jar. So this is where we are. Now we'll put that aside, and we're going to grab our rosette wand, and we're going to add some tulle around it. So I just happen to have this tulle by May Arts, and I'm just going to cut. This is very thin, so I really find that I have to double it just to really see it. I love the thinness of it, but you know, sometimes you can't really tell. So all I did was I simply went around the wand, and I'm going to tie it into a knot, and I'm going to pull it all the way to the top, and then I'm just simply going to cut the ends. And that's it. Just adds, again, just some more texture to our wand. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I've already stamped my sentiment, and this says Happy Love Day. So I just cut the other end of the pennant, and I'm simply going to wrap it around the straw. And I think I like it there. So I'm just going to push back this one layer. I'm going to add some glue right there. Move this out of the way so it doesn't get adhered if I can. Oh, my stars. And then I'm simply going to tuck the other piece around it and ensure that that's nice and snug. And that's going to finish off our wand. Super, super easy. I love making these. I made one, a birthday one the other day when I was at work, and I thought, oh my gosh, this would be so pretty inside a mason jar. So there you go. All right, so now that's done. Now I also did not mention that I do like to finish off the mason jars. So with the rings, if you want to, you could keep them silver, but I love spray painting them. So just grab some white spray paint and just spray paint your lids or your rims, and they'll finish them off. Now, if you go into Target, you'll notice that they have some mason jars that are filled with like sunflowers and sometimes roses, and they have, you know, they have this rim still around the mason jar, and that's what inspired me to create them for my craft fairs. And I thought, what a great idea. So instead of flowers, I'm simply going to tuck in pencils. So you'll just you just need some spray paint, and it's super easy to do, and it doesn't take very long to dry. And I like it kind of, you know, not completely done, just so it kind of finishes, it looks like it was handmade, which obviously it is. All right, so that's done. And now let's go on to the next step. All right, so I'm just going to push this aside so it doesn't get messed up. And we're now going to work on our tag. To the top portion of the tag, and hopefully you can see that shine. I just love it. Just adds a little bit of sparkle. And then I just cut my tag already in half, and I'm just going to adhere this right along the bottom of the tag. And let's just do that. I'm just going to do that with my tape runner here. And we're just going to line this up as best we can on my star stand. There you go. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut. I just had this scrap that I had left over, so I'm just going to add just a thin portion of it right underneath the sentiment. And again, I'll just use my tape runner for this. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and layer this right on top and cut off the excess with my scissors. Okay, and there you have it. All right, so let's move this out of the way. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my hearts to the tag. And okay, so now I'm going to add my a red heart here. So I'm going to use a pop dot for the back of the heart, again, just to give it more dimension. And I'm going to adhere it right along here. Then I'm going to come in here, and I believe I used this heart here, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue, hot glue to that, and adhere it there. And I believe I added enamel dot too, so let's just grab one more, and I'll grab this larger one, and I'm just going to adhere it there. And that's it. And let's go ahead, and we're going to punch a hole at the top of the tag, and we're going to run some twine. Okay, and I'm just going to use my crocodile because it's what's closest. And there you go. Punched a hole, and now I'm going to grab my red twine. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to cut that. And let's thread this through our tag. Okay, so there we go. And let's go ahead and tie it around our mason jar. So what I do is I always position my tags right along the side, and I'll just come right around it again, and I'll tie it into a bow. And I love making Valentine's projects. It's just so much fun. It's like Christmas all over again. Okay, and I think that's good. Let's go ahead and cut the ends off just a little bit. And okay. And there you go. We have our mason jar almost completed. Now, we can, if you want, you can add some chocolates. And I just added 5 of this Dove milk chocolate that are shaped into hearts that I found at Target. So I'm just going to nicely tuck those inside. And then you're going to add your pencils to your mason jar. I did not find pink or red pencils. I was hoping to find them, but I did not, and that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and use these yellow pencils here to tuck inside my mason jar. Now, this is exact same thing that I did during the holiday season for my holiday boutiques, and they were very well received. So a bunch of, even teachers who were there shopping wanted to buy one for themselves just so they could have one at their desk. I mean, who wouldn't want brand new pencils, especially packaged just like this in a mason jar? So I think this will be a great gift that you can make, a simple DIY that you can make with your kids, or you can make it and give it to your children's teachers. They will love seeing this on their desk every day. So the final thing is simply adding our rosette wand, and that's it. It's completed. I hope that you will give these a try, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some time to be creative this weekend, and I hope you have a great start to the week. Thank you so much for watching.